What to do if your car ends up in the water.
An honoring ceremony for Native American graduates.
Mr. Kernan gives us an update about his recovery.
Central students are headed to the International Science Fair.
A Central graduate heads to the Olympic swim trials.
And a history of school news in Aberdeen.
Hi, I'm Kobe Dowan.
And I'm Gavin Bitts, and you're watching Eagle Zone.
We have a packed show today, so we'll get right into it. In our part of the state, there are plenty of places where with water right up to the road. So what should you do if you end up off the road and in that water while you're driving? Eagle Zone's Brock Anderson talks with an expert and a driver who learned that lesson the hard way. Brock?
That someone was actually my brother. He was on the highway 1 minute and sinking in the water the next.
Yeah, so basically I was coming back from North Dakota, and when we left, it was perfectly normal conditions. And then we got to Summit, and I was driving my two-door sports car, and then the weather started getting nasty. And we were going through Webster, and basically I hit a patch of black ice, and my front end swerved around to where, or sorry, my back end swerved around to where my front end should be, and then I was going backwards, and then my front end swerved down into the ditch over some rocks, and then sploosh, I was in the water.
Anderson and his then girlfriend were in the car.
It was a little bit of shock, honestly. Like, I think it took a couple seconds to register what had happened, and then I basically was like, I gotta get out of here. We gotta figure out how to get out. And I tried to open my doors, and there was water up to the windows, and my doors wouldn't open. And the windows were half covered in water. Luckily though, I had a sunroof, so I hit my sunroof button, and it went open, and then climbed out on top of the car, and then jumped into the water, which was about chest high or whatever, shoulder high, and then waded out of the water.
According to Aberdeen Fire and Rescue, there are about 10,000 vehicles that end up in the water each year, leading to 400 casualties. You want to make sure you know what to do in this situation.
Because usually you have, once your vehicle usually enters the water, usually you have 30 seconds to 2 minutes before the car starts sinking. So the biggest thing is to remain calm.
Which will help you think even as water surrounds you. Your window is your best friend. You need to roll it down right away.
Because once the vehicle goes down and the water hits the windows, sometimes the pressure of the water might not let you get the window down. So you want to get that window down really fast as you can.
There are tools available to help you out of your car, such as a window breaker and a seatbelt cutter. It is important to know where you have these things in your car so you can get to them fast. Those are tools that Anderson has now added to his vehicles. He ended up marrying the girlfriend that was with him, and even survived seeing her dad after the crash.
The first thing he said to me after I drove his daughter into a lake was, Jake, if you wanted to go fishing to catch fish, you could have just used a pole like everybody else. You didn't have to drive into the water.
Anderson can now look back and make fun of himself now, but it was a scary moment. There's one more scenario Aberdeen Fire and Rescue brought up that you might want to keep in mind. If your car rolls in water, you might be disoriented without knowing up from down. In that situation, they recommend blowing some air bubbles out so that you know which direction is up.
Thanks, Brock. Aberdeen Fire and Rescue says local stores carry those instruments that will cut both ear, seatbelt, and break your window. You can also order them online. Just make sure you secure the tool to a place in your car where you can grab it quickly.
Seniors, your awards night is Thursday the 9th at 7 p.m. in Central Theater. The night will recognize students who earn scholarships and other awards. The public may attend. The Indian Education Department is also honoring students this week. Eagle Zone's David A. explains the cultural importance of the event. David?
Every year, the Indian Education Department hosts a senior honoring ceremony. The Native American Student Association, or NASA, helps assist and set up the ceremony.
Within that, we give out quilts here, and we also give out our eagle feather to each graduate, whether they're male or female. Females get plumes, males get feathers.
When it comes to the actual event and ceremony, NASA is heavily involved with it. They take care of things by setting up, cleaning up, tearing down things, and ushering doors. They also partake in taking care of the elders and assisting them, also serving food for everyone.
It's a really high regarded gift when we give out feathers, when we give out quilts. It's kind of like how we used to traditionally give out buffalo robes a long time ago as a gift. It signifies a huge step within their life. It signifies this level of accomplishment. It signifies this really important thing that happened within their life, and we're acknowledging that.
For us as seniors, it's kind of a lot because not a lot of us have families who actually go through graduation. Lots of us end up like dropping out due to family issues and lots of other problems nowadays. And it's just really like a lot of us, we're just really honored to get blankets and quilts and plumes and feathers.
Reflecting off the past 3 years, Central High School graduation rates within Native Americans have fluctuated as low as 46%. However, the graduation rates have also been up to 94%, and the Indian Education Department will always include honoring ceremony for the students.
If you know a specific student that's going to be going through it, show up for them.
And just honor like what's happening, because this doesn't happen every other day. It's just not a normal day. It's just a nice welcoming and like giving back to our graduates who helped us throughout Central.
The senior honoring ceremony will always be a part of the Indian Education Department, regardless if it's Mr. Treetop or the previous advisor who's responsible for it. The graduating students, their parents, and their families are invited to discuss how the day will go, bring in new ideas to go from. It's a big moment and a great opportunity for them, and you are welcome to participate and watch.
Thanks, David. That ceremony takes place Saturday, the 11th, in the theater.
Here's a look at your National Honor Society inductees for this spring. Central inducted 24 students into the organization. These students will lead different service efforts, including blood drives and other projects at Central over the next year. Congratulations, guys. Central School Resource Officer John Kernan is still recovering from a work injury, according to the Aberdeen Police Department. He suffered an injury when stopping a fight between students in the school in March. Eagle Zone's S.A. Shui shares an update about his recovery.
It's been a year of ups and downs for Officer Kernan. Here he is in December earning a School Resource Officer of the Year award. He is now recovering after suffering a ruptured right quadricep tendon at the high school. Kernan answered questions by email, and he said that it has been a slow recovery. He has to rely on crutches to help him get around. However, physical therapy twice a week, along with at-home exercises, has him feeling stronger already. He really wants to get back to work at the high school. He is homebound now and hopes to be put back on light duty, which means he will be back working at the police department, but will not be doing any tasks that require physical activities. A potential return to full duty could be in late June. The kind of support we saw when he won his award in December is also pouring over as he recovers from his injury. He says that support has kept him positive and appreciative during his recovery. Officer Kernan is eager to come back next year, and he wants all the seniors to know that he is proud of them and that he's looking forward to seeing them on their graduation. Officer Klein has been filling in for Kernan at the high school, but Kernan told him to not get too comfortable in the position because he'll be back at the high school next year.
Thanks. That was S.A. Shui reporting. We look forward to having Officer Kernan back and probably interviewed for Eagle Zone a few times next year.
Winners from the Regional Science Fair competition have booked a trip to Los Angeles this week. Eagle Zone's Peyton Head joins us with that story. Peyton?
The International Science Fair takes place this upcoming May in Los Angeles. To be able to participate in this event, students who competed in the Science Fair at Norburn had to earn it. Students from multiple schools in our region compete at Norburn Science Fair. This year's Science Fair winners were all from Central. You can see them here as the school board recognizes them. The solo project winners were Christian Wells and Kira Stillman. Their partner project winners were Samson Flockus and Grant Fritz.
So me and Grant Fritz, we were a team project. We did the effects of road runoff on arugula. So basically we tested 3 different contaminants, salt, antifreeze, and oil, which we found were commonly in runoff. And we applied them to post-emergent arugula to see the negative effects of the road runoff on their growth and the plant overall.
Flockus says he and Fritz were confident they had a solid project, but they are not expecting to be selected to compete at ISEF.
I am very excited to get to represent South Dakota and Aberdeen and Aberdeen Central at the International Science Fair. And I don't think anyone from Central's ever won a prize, but maybe we could be the first, who knows.
The winners will compete against thousands of other high school students from around the world. Good luck to those Central students.
Thanks, Peyton. The event takes place the 11th through the 17th. Good luck, Eagles.
No time for a commercial break this week, so Gavin, just get on to the sports.
We start off on Saturday, where the Eagles softball team takes on Sioux Falls Lincoln, where they ended up losing this game 15-0. The track team headed to Howard Wood and Sioux Falls O'Gorman for a big meet over the weekend. On the boys' side, there were a bunch of top 10 finishers. The boys set a meet record at O'Gorman for the sprint medley. That team consisted of Ligon, Borg, Beegler, and Dowan. On the girls' side, there were only a few placers at Howard Wood. Taryn Hermanson got 5th in the shot put, and Sierra Frank got 7th in the high jump at that meet. Also, at Howard Wood, the men's unified 4x100 relay won and also took the meet record. The unified event combines varsity track athletes with Special Olympic track athletes. The record-setting team consisted of Padal, Greg Johnson, Flockus, and Skylar Hirschkorn. The girls also won the same event with a team of Ketterling, Caitlin Heckler, Stager, and Danica Sheets.
The Olympics are coming up this summer in Paris, and there are a lot of exciting competitions leading up to the event. We talked with an Aberdeen Central graduate preparing for her Olympic swim trials. Ever wonder if going to a Division I school is a little different than high school in South Dakota? Former Central athlete Jenna Jorgensen tells us how the two differ.
So with South Dakota is actually the only state that doesn't have high school swimming. So college is very similar to high school swimming in every other state except for South Dakota because we swim club. So Division I is definitely more team-based than I grew up with. So was a very big change for me personally, but I loved it. I loved the team aspect of it.
She is preparing for the Olympic swim trials in June that take place the 15th to the 23rd. The trials have a little over 1,000 people who have qualified, both men and women, for their events. With that preparation comes a long day.
I wake up at 5 o'clock every morning because practice is at 6, and so I'm normally at the pool by 5:30.
When it comes down to time qualifications, she's in the pack for her races.
My best event, you could say, is probably the mile, which is 66 lengths. When I came to college, I swam the mile. That's what I was recruited for, the mile. And my time was almost a 17-minute. And coming out of my freshman year of college, I got down to 16:13. So that's almost 45-second drop. And then after this year, I cut even more. I cut almost 20 seconds off of that. So I'm under the 16-minute mark. And then for trials, since it is swam in the long course pool, so like what the outdoor pool is in Aberdeen.
Yeah.
That 50 meters. The goal time or the trials cut for the mile is at 16:44.
A lot of problems that come with being an athlete in college is putting that stress on your body. That can cause you to get injured or not be able to compete at their highest level. But she tells us that her program really helps her.
Yeah, like compared to high school to here, it's a major difference, especially being at a Big Ten school. We have so many resources.
Historically, she said she would have to get better times to get to the Olympics because she swims against some Olympic medalists from previous years. But making trials is still a huge achievement.
Eagle Zone's Jason Lopez Martinez has been working on historical pieces from our community. This week, he takes a look back at student news in Aberdeen. Jason?
Eagle Zone has been popular for the school district recently, but school news in Aberdeen has been around for decades.
It depends on how far you want to go back. Originally, when I was in high school, it was called School Scoop, was the original school news program that was done, and that was over at the Washington Street Gym. And then when I started teaching over at Tech, it was Cable 7 News, and that was because we had students from Frederick, Warner, Northwestern, Roncalli, so we couldn't just have a central type news. Now when we moved over here to the new facility over here, and we all moved over to Central in, I think it was 2015, that's when it developed into the Eagle Zone, because we were strictly doing the central news out of the school here.
But it looked a lot different from the Eagle Zone we all know from today with different challenges.
We stuck with Aberdeen Central News. We didn't go off campus much. I know you guys go off campus a lot more. We stuck to on-campus news stories, and a lot of sports heavy. We had a sports segment with our news, and because at that time we were doing production on all the sports that Central had. So we always had footage and we always had highlights. So it was easy to do that.
The CHS tennis team will be playing at the Rapid City.
It was just getting the reaction because we didn't always televise our productions. I had a somewhat high standard of what I thought was appropriate to go out to the public and what wasn't. And so sometimes it may not have aired on a cable 7 TV, but we just aired it in-house.
And after 30 years of teaching in 2020, Wayne Hansen retired, and the future of Eagle Zone was up in the air. Then came his replacement, who was a former Kello reporter. He made broadcast journalism a focus in the audio-video program. Students started producing a weekly show that's always went out to the public.
Hi, I'm Hunter Payson, and you're watching Eagle Zone.
Hunter Payson was the first anchor after that change and set a professional tone for the student show. Brian Johnson followed him and was surprised how much he enjoyed the gig.
I thought it wouldn't be cool. I thought it'd be lame, like no one would watch it, no one wants to do it. But then now every time I go around in the community, people are like, oh my gosh, it's Brian Johnson. And now it's like, it's just a cool and surreal feeling. And I just feel like everyone, if you have the opportunity to do it, I mean, you should go for it and try it.
Brian became known for his signature outro. His goofiness and fun inspired kids and even future anchors.
At first it was just a joke. Like, not Eagle Zone itself, but I had made a joke about, oh, I was gonna take Brian's spot on the anchor desk and it was gonna be like a big deal.
She and I anchored the next year, but we didn't exactly replace Brian. We took over Eagle Zone, which was pre-recorded, while Brian started a live show.
We introduced a live show because we had won an award, like a regional award for just regular. And then we figured, like, you know, since we've already accomplished doing stuff on the regular show, why not try it out in the live show? So we figured it'd be like a next step, something to help us like decide if we were really gonna go forward with journalism.
Courtney became the first female anchor on a show typically filled with boys.
My little sister is out there watching Eagle Zone. Other little girls, her grade, are watching Eagle Zone, and they're sitting there probably thinking, oh, Courtney can do it, maybe I can too. And diversity is important no matter where you go, let alone on the local news channel that you do in high school. So I just really hope that other girls will join it and that we can continue pushing out the message that we're women. We can do whatever we want.
Like anchoring the live show, which is what Thorstensen moved on to this year. Hansen led the audio-video program through many changes over his decades on the job, including the transition from standard to high definition. The growth of the news show is a change he's been enjoying observing after his retirement.
I do, and I catch your show quite often. I always flip through and check what's going on Channel 7, and I catch your shows, and I'm just so impressed with where it's gotten to these days. And you know, and you're providing a service here in town even. I know you guys go out and do stories in the community, which is awesome.
You see me and like people like Jason and Courtney like behind the desk, but you don't see the people behind the camera and the people running the teleprompter and things like that. So I think those people that go unnoticed, that doing the little things that make the show how it is, like that's what I miss. That's what I liked about the show.
Eagle Zone has come a long way. Yes, there's been teachers who have helped, but it all wouldn't have been possible without these amazing students. Reporting for Eagle Zone is your boy, Jason Lopez Martinez. Back to you, Colby.
That's supposed to be sent to me, but thanks, Jason. All these anchors from the past years have taken risks and never imagined to fall in love with this program. I urge everyone watching this to take the broadcast class if they can. Who knows, maybe you could be the next anchor for Eagle Zone.
This week, Braden Engelken got to know our very own varsity head football coach and wrestling coach, Mr. Breeze. He became a teacher because he loved science in high school and wanted to coach. Wrestling and football are the only two sports he's ever coached. He started coaching while in college before he became a teacher. He's been a teacher for the past 19 years. He has taught science and math from middle school all the way up to the college level.
Colby, he wanted to be a coach so he could be around sports that he loves the most. His goal for his athletes, for them, is to do their best and improve throughout the season. Along with sports, coaching, and teaching, his favorite hobbies are hunting, camping, woodworking, and helping out his wife with projects. I wonder what his favorite sports team is.
Well, of course, it's the America's team, Dallas Cowboys.
Can you recall the last time that they won a Super Bowl?
Why you gotta bring that up, man? Why you gotta
Because I just want to know if you were like born before then.
I was definitely born. It was 1996, but then again, you know, we did win one in 93 and 94, and then again 96. But yeah, it's been a couple years, so you know. But
Yeah.
it at least is, you know, we've won one since, you know, the Vikings have won one.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine.
Can you give your best "How about them Cowboys" impression?
I can, but it's probably not very good. But how about them Cowboys?
Mr. Breeze said the funniest thing students do is when they say things that they think teachers have no idea what they mean, but they really do know what they were saying. This usually follows the current trend at the time. Another trend going around is students asking their teachers who their favorite student is. Here is Mr. Breeze's answer to that very question.
I don't know if I can say who my favorite student individually is, but my favorite students are the ones that come to class on time, are prepared, and do their work.
And you heard it first.
It's a crazy idea. It's a hard concept, but it's really not hard.
That's all for this episode of Eagle Zone. You can watch our stories whenever you want by scrolling down the Eagle Zone section of the school district website.
That's aberdeen.k12.sd.us. We leave you this week with some shots of Lincoln Elementary School. With Eagle Zone, I'm Gavin Bitts.
And I'm Cody Down. See you next week.